please allow me to introduce Bamboo Solutions Chairman of the Board, Anders Johnson.
Thank you, Lindsay, and good morning, everyone. I'm Anders Johnson, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here to the SharePoint Leadership Forum 2013 in Washington, D.C. I'd also like to thank you for trusting us with your valuable time today. We realize how difficult it is for you to get away from the office, and we're going to make it worth your while. Sorry. When we held our first SharePoint Leadership Forum last fall, we brought together a group of respected thought leaders and a group of SharePoint decision makers for a day of learning, discussion, and networking. The event was a success, but it did leave us with one regret. We wanted many more attendees to be able to benefit from our programming. So I decided that SharePoint Leadership Forum 2013 would be a multi-city international event. After all, it's a Bamboo way to be community-minded, and that philosophy also applies to the SharePoint Leadership Forum. As a result, we are excited to convene leadership forums, not just in Washington, D.C. this fall, but also Atlanta and Düsseldorf, Germany. Bamboo's primary objective with SharePoint Leadership Forum is to bring together world-renowned thought leaders to advance the ongoing discussion surrounding a number of key topics in SharePoint. By putting those experts into a room like this, one full of SharePoint decision makers, community members, and users of every stripe, it's our hope to facilitate a discussion in which your voices join with those of our assembled experts and help shape the ongoing conversation and move it forward together. I'd like to personally thank our speakers and our attendees in advance for lending your voices to today's conversations. In doing so, you will ultimately have helped us to make the SharePoint platform that much more beneficial in our daily lives. Thank you.
Bamboo's relationship with our keynote speaker goes back so far that it even predates the publication of his first book, SharePoint for Project Management. So we're especially pleased to welcome Innovative E Managing Partner and SharePoint MVP, Dux Raymond to the SharePoint Leadership Forum.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right, fantastic morning to everyone. As I walked in this morning, I thought, where's my band? That's missing, but very stoked and excited to talk to you about this morning, about this revolution that's going on. And some of you, a lot of you have heard this big buzz around social or enterprise social. In fact, I was talking to a CIO 2 weeks ago here in DC, and it's like, we don't want no social. We don't want no pictures of cats on our intranet, right? But if you look the world around us, forget what we do in our work. We live in a very social world as a society, but more importantly, technologically as well. Think about it. Where or how did you hear about the royal baby being born a few months ago? Is it through CNN? I doubt it. It's through some Facebook post, right? Did you know that during the Boston Marathon bombing, the police relied heavily on Twitter for information, for clues, which actually helped them? The world is changing around us. But in this transformational time, it's unfortunate organizations aren't moving. I'm not even thinking about moving as fast, but they're just not moving at all. You see, technology today is not a competitive advantage anymore. For example, if we look at an organization that we all know called Blockbuster, you guys remember Blockbuster? Yeah? In 1999, they went IPO. They were valued at $4.8 billion, heydays. And at the same time, a guy named Reed Hastings was so mad with late fees for his DVDs, and he didn't want to drive somewhere just to pick up the new movie, so he decided to create a service called Netflix in 1999. And guess what? In 2004, Blockbuster at its peak had 9,000 stores and 60,000 employees. Huge. In 2007, the CEO of Blockbuster decided, you know what? We should scale back on our investment on online streaming because the quality isn't that good. People would like to watch through the internet. What we're going to do, we're going to open more stores, hire more people. What happened? 2010, Blockbuster went bankrupt. In 2011, acquired by Dish Network. The Blockbuster we know today is not the same Blockbuster back in 1999. How do we watch movies today? Netflix, Hulu, right? Or whatever other streaming service you use. What just happened here, friends? Shift happens, right? We laugh, but that's what's going on in this revolution. Hold on, Dux. You're talking about Blockbuster. You're talking about companies today. You're talking about, maybe you're thinking AOL, Netscape. Not really. This shift has been going on in the last 100, 200 years. Another example, do you guys know about the company Bethlehem Steel? Anybody? For those that did not nod, you weren't born yet. You see, Bethlehem Steel is the second largest steel manufacturer in this country. In fact, they built America. They were around in the 1800s, and in the 1900s, they're the second largest. In 2001, they went bankrupt. In 2003, they were sold to the International Steel Group. Why? What happened, Dux? Because leadership, management didn't want to change. They just stuck with the status quo. We're big and mighty. Bethlehem Steel, we're not going to go anywhere. And they did. What happened? Hello? What happened? Shift happens. The Fortune 500 companies back in 1995, only half of them are alive today. You see, the problem, friends, organizations are designed to be efficient, to be effective, to be structured. That's the result of the Industrial Revolution. Everything was routinary. Y'all with me? Forgive my heavy Southern accent. You hear my y'all here and there? I come from the deep South. Southeast Asia, Manila, Philippines. You see, during the Industrial Revolution, we want to mass produce, big, fast, efficient. People work in a routinary, process-like fashion. So what happened? Systems were put in place, processes were put in place, structure were put in place, hierarchy were put in place. It works, it's great. But fast forward to today, most of our work is non-routinary, right? And what's happening? What we're trying to do is we're trying to stick age-old technology, age-old processes, hoping that we could do faster, better, sooner. Not going to work because shift happens. And when that happens, we have to be ready. The question, friends, is, are we ready? Are we ready for this revolution that's already here? And if you still don't realize that this next revolution is here, case in point. Who works for IT? You work for IT organization? All right, okay, very good. So this whole BYOD movement, bring your own device. When iPad first came out, who in the company first wanted their iPad to be hooked up to the VPN? Who? CEO, right? If marketing needs some software and IT's too busy, what do marketing do? They go and sign up for Dropbox, right? Or Box or Google Drive. That's the world we live in. The next sign of this revolution is how fast things are moving. I mean, who would have imagined somebody putting up a video on YouTube in July 2012, 6 months later, would be the most watched videos, and the guy made $8 million from that one single video on YouTube alone. Things are happening so fast, friends, and what are we doing about it? You see, we're also in this age of doing more with less. Budgets are cut, resources are limited, yet we still have to deliver more than ever before. It's shifting. We don't have a blank check anymore. Maybe, somebody had $658 million to build a website, but we don't. You get that? Yeah. Now, we're also in this age of social engagement. You see, people today engage, at least in our personal lives, in a very social manner due to the increasing advancement of technology. I mean, how do you engage with your family and friends today? Do you still use email? Do you still use email to talk to family? Face-to-face. Face-to-face? What technology do you rely on to keep in touch with family? Email? FaceTime, Facebook, right? You see where people went to vacation. Heck, in my personal life, I only use email to make sure that I get my monthly bills. Y'all with me? And if you're thinking social is not for me, well, think again. You see, the explosion of social technologies has nothing to do with social technologies. The explosion of social technologies has a lot to do with how we behave as humans. We just love to engage and connect. And social technologies allows us to do that faster, better, sooner, more effective. Through time, we like to be part of a community, our family, our company, our LinkedIn group, our Facebook group. That's just us, human beings. And social technologies allowed for that to happen. We are at a time, friends, where technology can adapt to how we engage and communicate. But then let's think about where we work. What's the number one tool people rely on at work? Anybody? Email. A 1973 frickin' technology. We're in a day and age where everybody has the next iPad Air. You have your iPhone 5S. You have GPS in your car and TiVo at home because you have to record Dancing with the Stars. And how do you work together? Email. Has to change. Now, if you think about social at a corporate perspective, what do we mean by that? There is a huge misunderstanding of enterprise social in the workplace. When I work with organizations, I talk to leadership, they think we don't want no Facebook. It's not Facebook. You see, enterprise social, in a nutshell, is this. I'd like you to read this with me, so I'm going to count to 3, all right? 1, 2, 3. Enterprise social is an important method for enhancing communication, coordination, and collaboration for business purposes. I love this description from Gartner. Enterprise social is not about news feeds. It's not about likes. It's not about tagging or following. And that's where people lose sight of what this technology can deliver for your organization. All right, Dux, I get it. So you're saying if I can interact with my customers and my employees just like how I would in my personal life using tools like Facebook or LinkedIn, I can see how valuable that may be, other than just relying on email. Absolutely. But can you give me a picture of what this looks like? Okay, I'm going to show you this video to give you a glimpse of the power of enterprise social.
History has taught us that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That working together, we are able to accomplish more than we could ever accomplish on our own. That when great minds come together, anything is possible. So we are reinventing the way people work together. We are making it easier than ever before to share ideas, discover connections, Ask questions. Find answers. Stay in sync. Organize information. And build the team that takes an idea and makes it a reality. SharePoint, the new way to work together.
Isn't that inspiring? That's what enterprise social is all about. It's being able to enhance how you work, how you communicate, how you coordinate and collaborate, not only with your colleagues, but at the benefit of your customers as well. You can better engage with folks. You're not just tied to a single email thread, and you know how that goes. You send a single email to 10 people, it's just a mess on how trying to figure out who said what. You can better work together. We live in a very geographically dispersed workplace today. I mean, look at that video, the guy with the dog. Now, I don't know why these business videos always start with a guy with a dog, right? But the guy with the dog, he took a picture with his phone, BYOD, that's the world we live in, and posted on his social feed on his company. They're using Yammer. And another engineer saw it. It was a great idea, built a product around it, and delivered it, marketed it right away. That's possible without social, but I doubt it'll be that fast and it'll be that collaborative. The other value of enterprise social is just how agile you can be. Again, we live in a world where things happen fast. Blockbuster's gone. I always get this negative feedback, especially around here in DC. They're like, this won't work in our company, or this won't work in our organization. This social stuff is for them young kids, right? It's a generational thing. Well, you can make all that excuse all day long, but if your company shuts down, if your division shuts down because a competitor won you over, that excuse is useless. And also, I realize the excuse of generational thing about using technology is a lame excuse. A month ago, I was at one of the big government agencies. I was working with a customer, and she didn't care for all this stuff. So after we were done, we walked out the building. She fired up her iPhone, started liking, looking at Facebook, downloaded Candy Crushers, playing it while walking. That's not a generational thing. What's the problem then, Dux? I mean, so you're saying that you can't use generational differences as an excuse. Absolutely. You see, the problem is people don't see the value of the shift. You know, I love it when shift happens because what we're talking about here is we're taking the industrial way of working where people are in departments, people are in silos, and they don't know what each other's doing. They're not as effective. We want to shift it to a way where the whole organization is connected. We want to facilitate purposeful collaboration. If there's 1, 2 words you can remember today, purposeful collaboration. And the purpose is different for different companies and different people. And that's what we want to drive towards too. You see, we tried already in the last few years. All these things you're saying, Dux, is nothing new. SharePoint's been around for 10 years or so. Isn't it supposed to solve the problem of collaboration? But why is it so that SharePoint today, in 80% of worldwide organization, is nothing but a big file dump? Raise your hand if you're one of those. No judgments. Because we forgot the word purposeful. It's always been an IT-centric approach. Here's SharePoint business, go have fun, collaborate, and don't mess with me anymore, don't call me. What's the purpose? I don't know. You see, our idea of making it work is we're going to throw out tools like SharePoint or Yammer or 2013, and adoption is just sending people to training. Life would be great. Wrong. Training alone is not enough because a lot of the training at least in a lot of organizations I see, is non-contextual. You go to power user, you go to end user, you go to admin. I'm working with a company now, 100,000 people company. And 2 years ago, when the VP of marketing saw one of my briefings, he said, Dux, can you come to corporate and meet with IT and all this, and me, I need to talk to them. I go, okay. So the VP of marketing in this meeting told IT, you know, we had SharePoint for 8 years. I had no clue the power of this technology. How come you, IT, aren't able to communicate what Dux communicated in an hour? That's really an awkward situation, right? IT was like, no, we got 8 people in our knowledge management team. We've got training. We got power user, end user. I said, whoa. What's power user? I'm the VP of marketing. I don't know what power user means. It's non-contextual. Another problem we do if we're thinking of adoption, it's unclear roles, right? We don't specify people's responsibility and what they're expected to do and not to do. People think of SharePoint as on top of their job. And lastly, what's in it for me? You know, 6 months ago, I advised a large organization, 80,000 people, that are going to upgrade to 2013. The IT lead, he was like, Dux, see what you think. You know, when we upgrade, we're going to turn on my site, SharePoint Social, because we're on-prem, and we're going to think, I think we need to integrate the site mailbox and surveys and wikis. I go, whoa, why? Why? Just like you, they're silent, which makes me insecure as an immigrant to this country that my English is not good enough. I asked, ¿por qué? What are you talking about? I said, why do you need these news feeds and social? Isn't that the new thing? Isn't that what people are talking about? The business wants social. What does that mean to Miss Sally in accounting who's processing expense reimbursements every month? How can social help her? Tell me. Tell me. What's the purpose? If you cannot answer that fundamental question, ¿por qué? Don't even think about it, right? We get so caught up in the bells and whistles and the nice shiny objects that Microsoft is selling. Who's working for Microsoft? I'll buy you a drink tonight. But we forget at the end of the day, collaboration, engagement, communication is about people. So what I want you to think about in the remaining time we have is this idea of how do you sustain adoption? You see, the goal of sustainable adoption is threefold. Number one is you have to drive excitement. When I started using this word excitement, people are like, what are you smoking, Dux? In IT, we don't use excitement, motivation, inspiration. That's you're talking Tony Robbins here, right? But if you want to drive change and if you want shift to happen, you got to get people excited. And once they're excited, it doesn't stop there. What they're excited about should facilitate positive change on how they do work, on how they deliver value. And lastly, they should be empowered not only to help themselves, but to be able to grow and help others as well. So I'm going to share with you how you do this in the remaining time we have. So how you drive sustainable adoption is 4 specific steps. I'm going to share my experiences, the work we've been doing, and these are things that you could do when you go back. First of all, how's everything so far? Good stuff? Useful? All right, good. Was the breakfast good? All right, it's on me, all right? No, it's on Anders. Okay, so first things first. You got to make sure you secure executive commitment and buy-in, and not just executive signing the check, we're going to buy social. Unfortunately, in a recent Gartner research, 80% of leaders or decision makers will not get the benefit of social because, again, leadership is not there and it's overemphasizing technology. And a lot of companies are in this situation right now, and you know who you are. You get caught up in the excitement, oh, we just signed the EA, let's just throw it out there. Not going to work. So what do you mean, Dux? What do you mean on securing buy-in? You, or as a decision maker, you really have to understand the business value. I'm not talking about doing big strategic ROI analysis, not even that. But look at what your organization is doing and how you tie technologies like social technologies to help you deliver your strategic business goals. For example, Nationwide Insurance. There's a lot of great stories about Nationwide, but I love this one story. There's a family doing a camping in Florida. They're in their RV, and somehow the RV broke down middle of nowhere, Florida. So the dad called the broker who sold the insurance to him. You know how insurance you could buy from brokers, not necessarily direct? So he called the broker. He says, hey, car broke down, you know, I need help. I know this covered my policy. The broker said, no, it's not. It's not covering your policy for this reason. But the dad didn't give up. He called up Nationwide. He said, same story, car broke down, you know, my RV broke down, blah, 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 and I need help. The customer service on the phone can't find his policy. He could have said, sorry, sir, I can find it, or I'll call you back. But the customer service person says, 1 second, sir. Because in the traditional systems, he can't find anything, so think silos. You know how in your company you go to one system to look up stuff, the other he can't find it? What did he do? He posted it on their social network internally, which in this case they're using Yammer. Said, hey, I got a customer, this is the situation, and then he used the hashtag emergency. Right? That's an internal agreement they had. If there's any customer emergency, use the hashtag emergency. It's going to surface in a lot of decision makers at Nationwide Insurance. And guess what? So all the other folks helped him, pulled other information. In 30 minutes, it was solved. In an hour, money was sent to the guy's account as an emergency fund. In an hour and a half, a tow truck came, and another car came, picked them up. Business value. Not only did they keep the customer wrote a very powerful blog about customer service, on why he's not going to leave Nationwide, on why he's going to tell everybody to sign up with Nationwide. That's business value. You got to think beyond liking, following, tagging. Now, when we think about social, it's empowering bottom up, your people in the organization making things happen so that folks up above can make more timely, relevant decisions. Another example I want to show you that's kind of near and dear to us, I'm going to show you a video of a group in Microsoft. And this group is the SharePoint engineering team. They're going to share how, because of tools like Yammer, they made communication much easier and faster during their specification review process as they're building the next version of SharePoint.
I've been at Microsoft for 17 years. I've been working on SharePoint since 1998, since we started the team. And we've come a really long way, but Yammer is just this fundamental upgrade to how people communicate, and it's really enabled our team to fundamentally upgrade how we communicate with each other.
One of the highlights of using Yammer in our day-to-day work is the way in which Yammer has improved the spec review process for us. The process used to be that we would send out a meeting request, discuss the feature, come to decisions in that meeting, and then that feature would progress all the way through development while only having a few eyes on it.
Yammer as a tool has really enabled us to bring a lot more people from around the company into our conversations. People we didn't even expect to be able to participate, and we didn't even know who to ask. They'll just jump into conversations, and that's people in marketing, it's people in sales, people in consulting, and people in all of our partner engineering teams around the company.
Communicating in public brings us to better decisions faster. Since we've adopted Yammer, we can communicate more quickly because we don't have to wait for synchronous meetings.
Instead of getting everybody together with all the scheduling conflicts we had to face before, we can get things done, usually like that same day, just by having a Yammer thread where everybody can participate.
For me, as a PM, one of the specs that I've personally owned required me to come up to speed on a web part that was designed years ago. And what I was able to do with Yammer was to just simply search on the name of the feature, find all the groups that were related to the production and refinement of that web part, and learn about its history and where it's been and how it was made, so that in my refinement, I was able to leverage all that information and not have to have synchronous meetings with the stakeholders to have them get me up to speed. I was able to do that all on my own. And it led to me getting a spec out a lot faster than I otherwise would have been able to do without Yammer.
So it's both good for the team, and I think it's been really good for me. It's been good for the individuals on the team because A, we get a lot more context, so we just have the information we need to do our jobs most effectively. We can also share way more easily, so it's a lot easier to sort of get credit for the things that you're doing. You get likes, you get responses, people praise each other a lot more often in Yammer. It's really been an amazing tool, I think, for individual empowerment and engagement.
Communications are better in the open, so by moving to Yammer, it helped us get to better designs faster and better communication with our field and better communication with marketing and ultimately better product for customers.
So again, as you engage with decision makers and you want to get executive buy-in around the investment in enterprise social, you don't talk about social. You remember the movie Fight Club? What did they say about Fight Club? Don't talk about the Fight Club. You talk about business value. What are we trying to achieve this fiscal year, this quarter? And then once that's clear, you talk about how social can help enable that. All right? Now, when you identify your vision for social, this is in the interest of aligning company values to how enterprise social can help. And when I say align company values, this is again a common characteristic in this social revolution. An example I want to talk about. Anybody knows the company Zappos? You know, the shoe. You know what their goal is, or their company vision or mission? To deliver the best customer service ever. Something like that, right? So a few years ago, there was a bad storm that's about to happen in Tennessee, which one of their big warehouses is at, and they monitor all this stuff. One of the things that Zappos promise you is they say when they deliver your shoes, it's either going to get it to you on time or a day earlier. And hell or high water, that's what they want to do. So when the news came out that there's this big storm that's going to happen, everybody helped. Everybody went to the warehouse in Tennessee, so they want to ship the stuff out sooner before the storm hits. People in HR, people in IT, people in customer service who weren't on shift, they went to the warehouse and start packing. I mean, in the Industrial Revolution world, I'm in HR. I don't pack boxes. I'm in IT. I take care of upgrades. I don't pack boxes. And that's what we mean by being in alignment with the company goals. I am Dux working in IT, but ultimately, I'm here to deliver the best customer service experience out there as possible. Y'all with me? And how were they able to do that? Again, they use some social tool to say, hey gang, big storm's going to hit. We need help here down at the warehouse. People just came down. That's what you do. So you think, as you work with executive, what are some of the key business goals or value you want to achieve or improve? And there's, again, you don't have to think about big things. There's a lot of things that's going on in your world right now you can tackle. And think about what enterprise social platform or technologies should be doing for you. And once you come up with that specific vision for enterprise social, the next step is you initiate a pilot. I don't recommend that you start deploying this and making everybody use it, because as we know, with any shift, change is hard. In a lot of big change initiatives, especially around technology, it contributes to 53% decline in productivity. This is a research made. And that's why, for something like this, what you want to do is you pick a pilot group, and with that pilot group, you want to prove that it works or it doesn't work, how you can make it better, right? You see, a lot of times, here's a tip for you. I know a lot of you, are with me. Dux, I've been wanting to do this, but my company doesn't want to do this. But typically in organizations, there's three types of people. There's what I call the green, people who are excited to do this. Yellow, they're, half-hearted. And then red, anything you say, they just don't want to do. Y'all with me? And we spend most of our time with the red and the yellow. Here's a tip. Go pilot it with the greens. It could be a small initiative, improving meetings, improving project collaboration. We need to map it to a specific business value that addresses common pain points, quick wins, and go after low-hanging fruits. Don't start thinking about, oh, we want to hook up enterprise social to SAP, CRM, PeopleSoft, Run DMC. As IT, we do that. We want to hook up stuff. Start low risk, high value, start with small groups and run a pilot. Here's an example. One of the most common pain points in any organization is how people work together on projects. But what if enterprise social can alleviate or improve or make it better? Here's an example on how it may work.
Meet my colleague Alex. He and I are working on putting together a presentation for our boss. Thanks to SharePoint 2013, we're able to easily centralize and manage all related artifacts and communications for this project. On a typical day, Alex would start working from home using his Mac. He would check his email from a browser and start work from there. Looks like Alex is reviewing the tasks for the project, and he has some questions for me about the project. Just by using the browser, he's able to instant message me using technologies like Link. One of the key benefits of SharePoint 2013 is a deep integration with existing tools that we already use, like Microsoft Office, smartphones, and even web-based technologies. So even if I am out and about, I'm still not at the office yet, I can easily respond to Alex on my phone and update my task. The beauty with SharePoint 2013 is that I can continue working with Alex once I get to the office. You just assign me a task on the project site, and look at what happens. It automatically shows up on my task list in Microsoft Outlook. Isn't that cool or what? Additionally, within Outlook, I can email the entire team directly using this neat feature called Site Mailbox. The Site Mailbox is available not only in Outlook, but it's the same Site Mailbox that the team can see and interact with directly on the project site. The Site Mailbox also provides visibility to all the documents I have in the project site. So what do you think? Are you excited? I am. This is the new way to work together with SharePoint 2013.
So we talk about purpose. So when you do a pilot, be very specific about what the purpose is. We want to improve project collaboration, meeting artifact management. Don't just say we're going to pilot social for social's sake. I mean, if I carry on this example, so this is that project site we just saw. So now I finished my presentation. I have a bunch of documents, and notice I have my news feed here. And I want to share with my team back at my office on how the presentation is going, right? So what I can do is right now, I can pull up my phone, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to post an update on how this session is going. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a picture of everyone. Make sure you smile, because I'm going to tag you in Facebook too. 1, 2, 3. There you go. So it could be any phone, BYOD, right? So I just posted it, and in a few seconds, you'll see it show up. But now, once it's there, I don't even have to deal with emailing my colleagues. The information is there. It surfaces. It shows up. And also, it's kept in this one-stop shop. Everything about my project up until the presentation is here. And that's powerful. The other part is, let's say I've got these documents. I'm working on some of these project documents, and let's say I want somehow the greater audience to review this, so I can pick a document and I can say post, and as soon as I do that, it's going to go ahead and get posted to a specific group in my feed. So post this document to my executive presentation, notify, don't notify anybody, just post it there. So as soon as I do that, tell you what, right there. Y'all see that? The power of social. See, we get so hung up on features and capabilities. The idea here is we want to ensure that social is not just a destination. A lot of companies have social as people to go to and look up stuff and see how many people like because Red Sox won the other day, right? The idea is we want to seamlessly weave social into our work every day. I mean, when we talk about seamlessly weave, what's the tool you can't or people can't live without? Two tools you can't live without every day as you do your work. What are the two tools? Email, phone, and maybe Excel, right? If you take those away, I mean, companies can't function. But today, if you take SharePoint away, it's really not that a big deal yet. People's concern with SharePoint today is how it looks. I don't like how it looks. Make it look like Ferrari.com. That's their biggest concern. Yes? But has anyone told you, I don't like how Outlook looks? Can you change how Outlook looks? Can you change how Excel looks? That's dumb. I use those to get my work done. And that's the thinking you want to inculcate is social is your get your work done platform. That's what it is. Right? When you do your pilot, make sure you deliver contextual training. If you're IT, you got to learn all this stuff, no doubt. But if you want to deliver value to the business, so if you're working on projects, this is how you use these suite of technologies. That's it. Very contextual. Or if you want to improve your meetings, this is how you do it. Right? Keep it interactive. Nothing wrong in having fun and engagement. I mean, one of the things I do when I develop corporate training around SharePoint back in the days, I do this thing called SharePoint Jeopardy. I want to show it to you. I seriously do this. You know, when I begin my training, I tell the folks, hey gang, you got to listen, because once we're done, we're going to play SharePoint Jeopardy. And I play that music, you know. I feel like Alex Trebek. And I do this, right? So for example, let's start with SharePoint doesn't suck for 100. All right? SharePoint doesn't suck for 100. What feature in SharePoint allows up to 4 people to edit a document at the same time? This feature can do that. What is it? Raise your hand. Sir? That's wrong. You don't answer that way in Jeopardy. What is co-authoring, right? Let's give him a big hand. Co-authoring. Do you guys like that? Do you want a copy of that? That's actually nothing but a PowerPoint thing I did. So, but what just happened? Very social way of learning. Not only did he answer it, he learned it, but everybody else who had no clue what that is, now you know it's co-authoring. Y'all with me? Do you feel the love? It's okay. Have fun. Lastly, give homework. A lot of us, when we tell people go take training, we don't expect anything from people. No, expect stuff from them. After you take this, I want you to go and use this and do this. An example I want to share, we did a pilot with an organization. The leadership was on board. And the CEO really wanted to do this. The first thing we tackled is improving their meetings. Because every week they have management meetings, they have PowerPoint. So one of the big things is no more bringing the USB drive to show your presentation manager. Y'all with me? Because we're going to have a meeting site, all the presentations would be there. So when this happened, people got like a 30-minute training. The week after, they did their meeting. One of the managers walked in with a USB. The manager said, or the CEO said, why do you have a USB? Oh, I didn't have time to put it on our meeting site. You know what the CEO said? We'll make time. Go back to your desk. We'll wait. Never happened again. And that's why securing executive buy-in is critical for this to work. The third step is you implement it corporate-wide or enterprise-wide. This is the part where you engage key business groups to help you deliver the message and the value of social. That's where corporate communications can help you and human resources can help you. It's not just an IT initiative. It's a business-wide initiative. You see, the problem I see a lot is a lot of this is very IT-centric. Hence, the business always think it's an IT thing. But if it's a corporate-wide initiative, business-level initiative, having groups in the company like corporate communicators, HR, who's used to doing change management initiatives, they can help you. For example, a power company called SCANA. Anybody know SCANA in the Carolinas? SCANA Power. When they upgraded to 2010, everybody had a bad taste of SharePoint 2007. It's a big file dump. They can't find stuff. So corporate communications came up with this brilliant campaign. They call it Extreme Makeover. So for 2 weeks, they ran little videos around their extreme makeover of the intranet, on how it's not a one-way street anymore, on how people can work better together. So they show little videos throughout, and they put posters, extreme makeover. The culmination of all this is a company picnic or lunch where they hired a big truck. You know how in Extreme Makeover, Ty Pennington has this truck to do the unveil? So they had this big truck and a big screen behind it. So when they said, 1, 2, 3, move that truck, the truck moved with a big screen showing their new intranet. People got excited. And then with that opportunity, they said, sign up now to learn about this. Right? Shift happens. You need your champions to help you deliver and land the message that this is useful, this is beneficial. And when I say champions, these are people in the business. They don't have to be your site owners or site managers. Because one of the drawbacks, the challenge you'll have is if this thing actually works and it grows, to sustain it, IT alone can't do it. You got to use the Tupperware model. Remember Tupperware? The multi-level marketing kind of thing? So it's kind of similar model. But you're going to equip these champions so that they can help people in the business. Your support should be scalable. There should be a way to do self-service help, be it contextual or an FAQ. You know, one of the tools I love is Visual SP. I don't know if you know that tool. If you install that on SharePoint, every list, every library will have a help tab, and when they click on it, little videos of how to would show up. How do you upload? How do you connect to Outlook? So that's cool. Users can help themselves. Then you have to facilitate and create a community so people can help each other. It could be as simple as discussion boards or Yammer groups or social groups or communities in 2013. Brilliant feature. Then IT would have the job of doing all the heavy lifting and complex support requests or break fix. And if there's requests that comes in over and over and over again, so for example, IT keeps getting requests around specific workflow, IT can package that up to be more of a generic solution, feed it back to the self-service repository so users can help themselves. And that's how you scale. In short, these are the essential components to drive sustainability enterprise-wide. Lastly, the fourth step to drive sustainable adoption is to facilitate engagement. And when we talk about facilitating engagement, we have to gather feedback and understand what works, what doesn't, how useful is this or not. You need to measure. I hate to say this, but we as IT, we do a bad job of measuring value. What we do as IT is we roll out a new upgrade and then we do it again 3 years later. In between, we couldn't care less. Right? Wrong. That's the industrial way of thinking. Constant feedback is critical. Anybody know the Kaizen approach? Toyota came up with this concept of continuous improvement a long time ago in manufacturing. It's the same idea. How can we do better? How can we deliver more value? Drive regular adoption activities, be it events, internal user group meetings, lunch and learns, events like this, right? I love the U.S. State Department. The U.S. State Department is one of the biggest customers of SharePoint, and they have their own SharePoint conference every year internally. And on top of the conference, every month they have user group meetings internally, virtually. They use Link or WebEx. The goal there is to have people learn from each other on what the possibilities are. Lastly, to facilitate engagement, you have to measure success. And when you measure success, it's both qualitative and quantitative. When I talk about qualitative, you have to go back and say, okay, when we set out to do this, what business value or opportunity we were going to tackle? Well, better collaboration, better employee engagement or customer engagement. So how did the internet able to do this? It did this. What was achieved? How was it measured? Unfortunately, we don't do this. What we do to measure, we just rely on raw analytics. I'm not saying raw analytics is bad, but raw analytics is not the complete picture. Because if you look at this raw analytics, it says this week there were 10,000 likes, 20,000 messages. What were people liking? Is it because Red Sox won and people kept liking that? Where's the business value there? Y'all with me? Measure success. And then through time, iterate. When you invest in the social revolution, it's a long-term strategy. It's here to stay. And it's not a question of if you want to do it or not. It's to keep up, you have to do it. You see, to transform your enterprise, it's about making sure leadership gets it. Why and what the value is. It's about initiating a pilot program to prove that it actually works before you implement it corporate-wide, and through time, make sure you facilitate engagement. So, are you guys ready to lead this revolution? You see, here's the thing. We know every day shift is happening. The question is, you don't want to be the one that's shifted. You want to be the person who's doing the shifting, right? Okay, so I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, I want you to read this out loud with me, okay? 1, 2, 3. Shift happens. Thank you for being a gracious audience. Enjoy the rest of the day.